AIRSPACE. Enter your address and get a 360.
Feel like there should be some good music or something, but that's something we can work on. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, hey, hi, hi. That's like Harry Carey, but kind of annoying. Hi, Becky. What's up, Josh? What is up, everybody? That's interesting. Let's expand this a little bit. There we go. Hi, Kevin. How are you? You're about to get some thunderstorms here. Look, the entire the Metroplex. I'm interested to see these storms if they will present any DFW issues for you. So, I don't know why that flight always defaults, but so it's great to see you, Kevin. Hey, Trucker Norm, how are you? I am just looking at the possibility of everything falling apart in DFW. So, welcome in, everybody. Welcome into a first ever. And I don't have any good music today because my soundboard can't set up. But it is great to see all of you. We'll get going here. A whopping 3 people are watching now. Wow. But nice to see you, Trucker Norm. How you feeling, bud? How are you doing? How are you? What's up, everybody? Welcome in. We're starting early as usual, because I always like to start things earlier on time. But how am I sounding? How's my volume level? Do I need to turn myself up? Do I need to turn myself down? How are we sounding? That is the question. So, yeah, we're excited to debut, hopefully, what will be a fan favorite for years to come. The official show is called What's what did I call it? What's wrong with your airspace? I forget the title to my own show. I'm good. Glad to hear, Truck, your Norm. You're hanging in there. I know it can be exhausting. I know for sure. So obviously, we want you to be healthy as best we can and get you back to full strength. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that you are starting off well. So today, we'll officially start in 6 minutes. And I don't have my soundboard because I don't think it has an input to a USB 2.0. So that's kind of new. I've never encountered that. My desktop computer only has USB 2.0 slots. I need a USB-C, USB 2.0 to USB-C adapter, or I just need to build a new computer. Hey, Cougar Tracks. Yeah, Kevin, you're right about that. Looks like Oklahoma City is getting some. They've been tracking this one storm right here, which I believe is severe warned, but that's it so far. In fact, yeah, okay. We're looking right now at two things. We're looking at the Dallas metropolitan area on our radar, and then we're also looking at the Dallas metropolitan area on flight radar. And here we have Dallas International Airport. So, welcome in, everybody. Cougar Tracks has. How are you? Matt, man. Hugh, what's up, man? You got a storm to the south of you, sir, in Oklahoma City. And that is a storm that is, in fact, a severe thunderstorm warning. So watch out for that as we get to the top of the hour here. This is Hughes in the Oklahoma City area, along with our friend Josh. Meme, let's look at Little Rock. Yeah, Little Rock is looking all right. So far, no delays, anything like that. tomorrow's going to be a different story, meme. That is for sure. Jacob loves hockey, a DFW local. Great to see you. So stick with me here for a couple minutes. When we hit the top of the hour, I'll explain the show and why I'm doing this. So, yeah, Jacob, DFW could be interesting aviation later on this evening, depending on things. So, Dan Reeves, good evening to you. Thank you for tuning in to this first ever edition of What's Wrong with Your Airspace. And I'll explain what we're going to do in just about 4 minutes. So, thank you for hanging in with me. And I'm excited. ERB still at work, but we'll see you later. Excellent. That's what we like to hear. And yeah, so give us a few minutes. Let everybody roll in. Uncle Plane Guy, how are you? Sean loves aviation. Hello, hello. Yeah, we'll explain. Just give me about 3 minutes and I'll explain what's going on. This is our first ever episode, so obviously things will change over the hopefully what are weeks and months if we find this successful. And I'm excited to do it for a couple of reasons. So just give me a few minutes and tune in. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. But we are live on the air. We're monitoring weather conditions here in the what would we call this? Would we call this the South? I wouldn't call this the Southeast. I wouldn't call this the Midwest. I would call this the Heartland, I guess is what I would say, the Heartland. So, or we would call it the Texoma area. There we go. We'll do the Texoma area. But meme, yeah, so far no real issues. You've got what looks like some light precipitation, but nothing in Little Rock too bad. Indy looking tomorrow. Let's take a look at Indianapolis, Uncle Plane Guy. We can actually do that. We can actually look ahead a little bit. So let's see. Let's look at the whole map, the forecast going on later this afternoon. So let's refresh this. And we can go about, I think, like 16, 18 hours ahead. So excellent, Has. That's great to hear. Sunbelt? Sunbelt, yeah, Sunbelt would be good. So let's see. You got storms headed your way tomorrow, Uncle Plane Guy. So the Midwest, yeah. So you'll get some rain definitely tomorrow. Tomorrow midday, it looks like. So 4, yeah. But that storm system is weakening up here, and you're going to have this trail end down here. So oh, cool, Has. Well, thank you everybody for liking and tuning in. I hope this will be a fan favorite, and you guys will enjoy what we have to offer here. So give me just one more minute, and we'll explain. I'm going to go back to my regular radar. So yeah, this may not. Well, that's not it either. So, but I wanted to get on early, and as usual, I like to start on time or early. All right, it's 3 o'clock. Welcome into Pip's first ever edition of Robert Brunn. Is not the first ever edition, but the first ever edition of What's Wrong with Your Airspace, a live stream from the United States covering the world of aviation and the airspace in the United States. And it features everything from live streams of others to live ATC audio to weather conditions to education. So I thought about this, and I've always wanted to do this, so I thought I'd try something out. And so hopefully what we get here is kind of a all-inclusive show that deals with education, entertainment, and being informative with an E. So, very excited to debut this. I know it's not, you don't see me yet, and I know I need to get a webcam eventually, but we all got to start somewhere. But the goal behind this is to, with some of the days becoming hotter in Arizona, it's a little tougher to stream for a long time in plain spots. So this is kind of an alternative. But I also want this to kind of be like a live radio talk show type of deal, and also a red zone, if you know the NFL, kind of the red zone that the Dish Network has, where we can jump around to different things and see highlights and see what's going on. So right now, we're looking at Oklahoma City, Dallas right now because that is one of the trouble areas that we're keeping an eye on. So there's storms starting to pop up here. If we take this full screen and look in at this, you can see here in the northern part of the Dallas Metroplex, everything's good. But if you go about 70, 60, 70 miles to the northwest of DFW, you're starting to get these storms pop up. And so we're going to be watching these carefully as we get closer into the evening. There is a tornado watch in effect for the counties north of DFW. So not necessarily like Collin or Tarrant County, but just north. That might extend, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. Another thing we're going to be keeping an eye on today, of course, the East Coast. It's always interesting on the East Coast. So we're going to see how Newark handles the traffic as far as national programs go. Here's what we can talk about. Boston. So Denver's got a 52-minute delay due to thunderstorms. So let's go up to Denver right now. It's a ground delay program due to weather in the area. Now, I don't know how long the ground delay program is going to be, but it just is going, I should say, is in effect until 7:59 Mountain Standard Time. So that's another 4 hours. So based on some of the weather right here in Denver and some possible pop-up storms, things might get interesting. And of course, if you're joining us for the first time, thanks for liking and subscribing. Hit that thumbs up button. Vancouver's got a ground delay. Chicago, not too bad, just due to demand. LaGuardia, light delay. Denver, departure delays for DFW because of the weather. And that is a look right now at our aviation weather program. It looks like Newark is handling things pretty well today. Ground delay program about 30 minutes, and just keeping a close eye on that. But Newark handling the traffic everywhere else. So Hans has a question, and as I said, if you do have questions, yeah, make sure to ask them. This is for everybody. This is for passengers who want to know information about their flights that they may not be hearing. This is for pilots, flight attendants. The show is kind of like an all-encompassing live show, the United States aviation system of what's wrong with your airspace. So, all right. So Hans asks, are we doing any flights down in Cincinnati? Well, let's look. So, where am I? Okay, we're down here in Kentucky. I need to go up a little further. Or Tennessee. So let's look here at Cincinnati. Of course, Cincinnati, I know Hans is a big fan of Cincinnati because of DHL. So we got this ABX taking off. Oh, look at that. DHL operated, I don't know why it keeps going back to the Little Rock flight. I'm going to go full screen on this. Maybe that's what it is. Flight radar's freaking out. Look at that. We got DHL. And yeah. So there you go, Hans. We also have what looks to be some prime air. Yeah, this is usually the time that a lot of the prime airs take off from Cincinnati. There's another DHL for you, Hans. So you got Cincinnati right there as well. And that's what we're looking at as far as the airspace within the United States. I don't know why this Little Rock flight keeps popping up, but it's kind of annoying. So, we're taking a look at the weather. We'll keep an eye on things in Dallas if things get worse. In the meantime, let us take a look at the. Let's look at the RVR monitor. See if there's runway availability. Any issues with RVR? No, Midland for some reason has a dust storm. So your RVR is about 3,500 or your runway visual range. And Colorado Springs looks like they have issues. And now Des Moines says they've got RVR down to 44,000 feet. So those are your current RVR values. Or your runway visual range, which is basically runway visual range is basically what a pilot can see down the runway. So you can see about 4,000 feet down the runway on that. So, but in the meantime, let's keep an eye on things. Wow, this Little Rock flight is very important for some reason. So we're monitoring the weather in the Midwest. You're probably going to have departure delays. If you're in Kansas City, if you're in Des Moines, if you are in Tulsa, you're okay for now. But things could change very well. And in fact, let's listen in to Kansas City. We've been there. So let's listen in to Kansas City. Let's go to our ATC audio. See if we can get MCI up for us. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in, liking. This is the first ever iteration of What's Wrong with Our Airspace, the daily news and information show for U.S. aviation, which I think is pretty sweet. So let's look at Kansas City here for a second. Let's go to Tower, perhaps? Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's launch. No. We don't need that. We need the browser. There we go. Let's see. All right. So, right now.
Tower Delta 2903 is 3,000 till Jazzy, cleared ILS 19 left.
So there you
go. Delta 2903 International Tower, runway 19 left, clear to land 160 at 18
Whoops.
Clear to land 19 left, Delta 2903.
So there is Kansas City Tower. Oh, look at this. They've got winds 170, 33 gusting to 48 in Kansas City. So that's fun. Not. So let's look at Kansas City, because now I just got really interested. So here's Kansas City right now. You've got this storm cell to the yeah, so Kansas City's getting hit right now with thunderstorms. Hey, thanks. They call me 413. It is a concept. It's something first ever, but hopefully this will turn into like combination radio, live radio, live stream, information, education, and entertainment for the U.S. aviation system. Because to my knowledge, I don't know of any other show like it. So yeah, we're making this kind of like our maiden voyage. So Kansas City right now, the last METAR that was reported, or the last weather conditions were reported: thunderstorms, winds 170 at 27 knots, which is about 30 miles an hour. So
we have Romeo. 2103, Kansas City approach, expect the ILS to 19 left approach, gliding 030 and descent of pilot's discretion and maintain 7,000. Heading 030, expect 7,000, we'll check 19 left, up at 2103.
Hey Jane, what's up? So yeah, oh my goodness, look at this, gusts almost 60 mile an hour. So take a look at that, folks. We pulled up Kansas City. The last METAR that was reported about 20 minutes ago was gusts sustained at 28 knots, or winds sustained from the south at 28 knots, gusting to 60 miles an hour. So that would qualify as severe storm. That is a severe storm And so they had winds reported gusting to 60 miles an hour. Visibility is about 1.5 miles, heavy thunder showers, and very interesting.
I see is there is an area of heavy discrete from the station. Tower Delta 20 west, final clear miles northwest. 903,
So we'll watch and see if there are any diversions around here. So let's keep our eye on Kansas City for a bit. This is Kansas City International Airport right here. And so they are arriving from the north to the south. The runways, I think, are 119, as we've been to Kansas City before. So I'm going to zoom back on this radar so you guys kind of see what Kansas City is dealing with. But this is the airport right here on Flight Radar, and we've got live ATC in the background. So we're going to be watching to see if there are any diversions here in Kansas City because, wow, 60-mile-an-hour gusts. Now, it looks like the good news is they're straight down the runway, 170, but certainly something to keep an eye on. And I know the flight dispatchers are keeping an eye on it as well, but it looks like that Delta flight is going to be landing okay. They are using the ILS, which that brings up another chart. Let's look up our minimums for Kansas City for runway 19 left. Yes. So let's do it. See, this is fun because I get to do all these things at once, and I know it's not as fun as seeing as my handsome face, but 19 left. Let's look at the minimums, the Category 1 minimum. So 19 left. We have, the chart says here that in order to land, the pilot needs to have, come on. Oh, thank you, Orange Cone. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic, but I'm trying. So, all right. For some reason, it doesn't want to open. Maybe if I go full screen on it. No? Okay, let's try it again. Let's look. Wow, for some reason, it's not opening. Not cool, man. Anyways, well, poo. Let's try. Yeah, most definitely, Dan Reeves. If this works, I would absolutely consider expanding it. Absolutely, but I know the U.S. airspace the best, so I got to start with something I know. All right, well, AirNav was not being cool for some reason, but that's all right. So we'll go back to this. Delta 2903 landed, and let's see if there were any other diversions. Thank you, Matt Man. But yeah, Dan, that is an idea. So let's look. Oh, we've had some diversions here in Kansas City. So yeah, the weather has not been favorable. Look at this. We got Southwest 3311 from Orlando diverting to Omaha. We have Southwest 846 from Austin diverting to Amarillo. We have American 980 diverting to St. Louis. And then we also have Delta 2068 diverting to Wichita. Southwest 1418 from Dallas diverting to Wichita. Delta, oh my goodness, look at this. We got probably about 10 diversions here. Hey KDD, how are you? So yeah, Kansas City has had some issues. I didn't realize there was that many diversions. So this is exactly the type of perfect situation where we can talk about, educate viewers, listeners, and everything. I'm going to turn down the ATC just a little bit. All right, so United 1627 just took off, and okay, so
United 1627, proceed to current, resume the facility transition.
hey, Brian Henry.
And resume the transition.
Oh, nice.
1627.
Yeah, what's going on? Let's talk about what's going on. We're catching weather in Kansas City. There's been 8 diversions already from Kansas City due to the weather, due to thunder showers. In fact, in the last half hour, Kansas City just reported a wind gust of 60 miles an hour, which would qualify as severe weather. Severe weather is typically more than 54 under the National Weather Service. Uh, but yeah. Hey, Southpaw, thanks for tuning in to the first iteration of what's going on with my airspace. Drizzle with the weather. Prepare for takeoff. How are you? I bet the East Coast is nice today. So right now we're keeping an eye on Kansas City, so that is an issue. The good news is it looks like they have a little break here between that and a second wave. But you can hear ATC in the background. But yeah. In the meantime,
good afternoon, American 1779, so 210 descending 12000 Romeo. United 586, fly heading 110.
all right, so we're listening to Kansas City Tower. We're listening to the approach and ground as well.
ILS 19 left and 7000 American 1779.
Hey, Tim Arnold, how's it going? Thanks, everybody, for leaving a like. So we're keeping an eye on Kansas City. Things look like they're getting better there, but we have at least 8 diversions I counted there to St. Louis, Wichita, Amarillo. They're all over the place.
All right, we say it's Southwest 2103.
Jump up and down to created version.
Direct Echo November Delta is able.
So we're also keeping an eye on Dallas, Fort Worth today, and see if they're going to have any storms later today. The tornado watch, there's a tornado watch that's been issued for the northern part of Texas here, right along the Texoma border, but it has not gone down to Dallas yet. What is up with Sandra's airspace? Let's take a look, Sandra. Let's go up to Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls might have a storm or two. All right. So we're looking for Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And if you have any aviation-related questions, please ask. This show is for not only entertainment but education. Oh, look, there's Sioux Falls Regional Airport. Sandra is looking at drizzle and a temperature of probably 55 degrees. So cool and wet at Sioux Falls Regional Airport or Joe Foss Field. So Sandra, looking all right. Let's see if you've had any issues today.
14 and a half for 12,000 direct Topeka with information Romeo.
Yeah, what is up with airspace? Inquiring minds want to know. Excellent questions. That's why we're here. That's why we're here, Orange Cone. So right now we're listening to ATC Audio in Kansas City, and they are experiencing obviously some weather that we saw down here. So this is Kansas City right now, and the airport's kind of like right here. So it's right on the edge of some thunderstorms. Tim Arnold, was there another outage today? I didn't hear anything about an outage.
17,4000 at 586.
And if we take by the way, if we take a broad look at the map here on Flight Radar, let's do that for a second here. And see, come on, Flight Radar. Come on, Google Chrome.
2103 has heavy precipitation. Actually, just diminished there. Looks like we're in moderate precipitation as you see. You put us right on the edge of it. Good job.
Right on the edge of moderate precipitations. Okay. All right, so we have this actually spread out and built out into the ATC center. So right now, see how these green lines right here on your Flight Radar screen? These are your ATC centers broken up into your different centers. So right now we were looking at Kansas City Center. with the thunderstorms up here. So Kansas City Center is right here. And then we kind of transition over to Chicago, which is right here. Excuse me. So this right here, Kansas City Center. Cloudy with a chance of pip. Ha! Good one. Good one, Luis.
Southwest 103, airport side.
2103, roger.
Airport is in sight, Southwest says, so that's a good sign. So it sounds like the weather's getting better there. Yeah. So Southwest 2103 reported the airport in sight, which is good because it looks like they're about 3 miles out, and that's a good sign to land if they can see the airport. So things are improving in Kansas City, but they did have those diversions earlier. All right, Has. Yeah, and you know, so there is Kansas City right now. So hopefully things will be improving. But let's do another. I want to do a count again and see. Come on. Let's see how many diversions we saw from Kansas City. Hi, Joseph. How are you? You know what's funny, too? You know what's nice, too, is I can just sit here because I'm at my house.
Evening data 1630, 17.6 for 12000.
Ah, nice joke, Has. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 diversions from Kansas City because of the weather. So. Let's go down here to my favorite airspace, Dallas, Fort Worth airspace. And oh, look, it's Cathay Pacific landing their newly launched flight that launched last month. So Cathay Pacific there. Look at this. Look at this line of aircraft trying to. So let's take a look at Haz's airport down in San Antonio. Am I feeling okay? I'm feeling great. If my voice sounds lower than usual, I think it's probably because of my broadcasting headset. So, what's up, Treasure Maze? I see you down there.
Heading 090, and that's
so has San Antonio right here.
Right, heading 100.
And boy, my internet is slow. There we go. So Has looking good. Let's take a look at San Antonio. Oh, I wanted to look at the weather.
American 1779. Thank
you. Let us look at the weather here. What was the last METAR for San Antonio?
586, we got the airport inside. 586,
where is it? All right, San Antonio's 33 degrees Celsius overcast and winds 150 at 10 knots. So it's hot in San Antonio.
4000 American 1779.
So what do we got as far as our weather down here? We'll let our ode. I do need a weather name. That's a good idea, Luis. I think that's a good idea.
100 American 1779.
So Dallas looks good so far. If you're coming in on the west corner post right here, you might deviate. So, in fact, let's look at that.
21.5 for 12,000. We got Romeo.
1619 Kansas City approach. Roger. Are you turning direct to the field, or what they give you?
We're just turning at Wu-Tang down to 12,000.
Did they say Wu-Tang?
19 left, American 16.
All right, so you got these storms up here right along the border.
120.2, 9586.
But everything looks good as far as the weather.
9586, ILS 19 left.
I'm going to turn off the weather here for a second if I can.
Land 19 left, 9586.
Left 090, another 1630.
Sorry, 9586. Do you have a
Where's the
braking action report
filter?
for 19 left?
United, 586 negative, but we were showing 5 tons of 333, slippery wind wet, but the last...
Ooh, Ficons of 3 at Kansas City?
Okay, thanks.
1779, so maintain 3,000. It's 3,000.
Why can't I find my filter on here? Fetch. Why do I always forget it when I'm on flight radar? Help me out.
100 heading down 2760.
Yeah, I thought he said Wu-Tang. I was just making sure. Oh, there it is, filters. I'm looking at the top, and it's at the bottom.
Here it's 3 o'clock, and it's been a pretty smooth ride for most of the descent. The only thing that changed was clock, so if you just want to stay on that other one...
I don't want to do widgets.
160, intercept localizer, American 1779. 2761, so maintain 4,000.
4,000, go 2761.
4704 is 5,000, about a 1630.
I can't do it anymore. I'm too tired. All right. So let's go back. Let's go back to the radar.
3,000 still established, clear for the Alice, 19 left approach, American 1779.
Yeah, I think I need to get myself a webcam because y'all want to see. But, okay, how about we do this? So this is something cool we can do. Let's watch live plane spawning. Let's see. Where is it? Well, is LA Flights the only channel on? Huh. So if you're just tuning in, welcome into What's Up with My Airspace, or What's Wrong with My Airspace, the first ever edition of What's Up with My Airspace. Thank you for liking and subscribing, tuning in. This is, again, just a starting point. Hopefully it'll get better over the years, months, and weeks. But this is live. It's like live radio, TV, and plane spotting all in one. Uh-oh. Orange cones. Dude, where's my airspace? Orange cone. We got a bunch of comedians on here. So, funny guys here. Funny guys. You guys, funny. I'm going to turn off Sky Vector for a second. Any new additions to the airspace? Oh, DFW's in a ground stop due to thunderstorms. Boom! That just came down. There we go. See, this is why we're updating the people. This is why we're on the air. So, DFW's right here. And looks like they're starting to get some activity here to the south of the field. So this right here is DFW. Try the veal, that's right. So DFW just went into a ground stop, so if you're watching at a terminal near you and you're going to DFW, your flight is not going anywhere for a while. So there you go. So you're starting to get some activity here to the southeast of the field. Again, DFW International Airport is right here. And DFW is also the third busiest airport. No. Yeah, third busiest airport in the world. So if there's a ground stop at the third busiest airport in the world, that's a problem. And because of that, if you're departing to DFW, you may not be taking off. So the ground stop just was initiated about 20 minutes ago. And the ground stop is issued for flights that are departing from Houston Center. So this is where you get to, this is the education part. What's up, Robert? Jane asks a question. Jane, I'll get to it shortly.
3,000, climbing 6,000 right.
But let's take a look at this advisory here for DFW. This is where you will learn and your mind will expand.
Heading 160, 3,000 still established and cleared ILS 190.
I'd like to know why my internet is so slow. Okay, so this is the advisory that the Air Traffic Control System Command Center in Warrenton, Virginia put out. The ground stop was issued about 15 minutes ago, or excuse me, 25 minutes ago, and it's for the next 90 minutes or so until otherwise noted. And it is for any airport that's within Houston Center, Fort Worth Center, Kansas City Center, Memphis Center, or Albuquerque Center. So basically first tier. So any airspace, any ATC airspace that is bordering Fort Worth Center. So it is due to weathers and thunderstorms. So basically, if you're flying from Albuquerque, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, St. Louis, Little Rock, Memphis, New Orleans, you are on stop, which means your flight cannot take off until at least 4:30 or until they cancel it. Actually, excuse me, not 4:30. Local time would be 6:30. Got to remember that. 2 hours ahead. Hey, hello from Turkey, Obuz. So yeah, that is a ground stop. What happens in a ground stop? If your flight is under the umbrella of a ground stop, your flight cannot take off until either the ground stop is canceled or a ground delay program is issued. So basically, if you're in this airspace right here from about New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, all the way down to the border of Texas, up to Mississippi, Memphis, St. Louis, Kansas City, you are not going anywhere anytime soon. So that is your ground stop and DFW as weather starts to form here in the Metroplex. In the meantime, Jane asked the question of why is Las Vegas closed? It is not closed, Jane. It is closed to non-scheduled transient general aviation aircraft unless they have prior permission. So you got to be careful with that. So it's still open. It's just closed to non-scheduled transient general aviation aircraft, except and unless you have 24 hours prior permission to fly in there. So that's why. Basically, Sandra, thank you. Basically, yeah. Roger that. Thank you, Orange Cone Vlog. I just got the attachment. I've been keeping an eye on those storms too, as well. Thank you. So if you're just joining us, this is the first ever What's Wrong with My Airspace? Or as Luis calls it, dude, what's up with my airspace? I also like that. I may steal that, Luis. That's pretty good. So welcome in. Welcome. I'm gonna close out Severe Storm Protection Center. But we want, you know what we should do? Yeah, at least updated warnings. Let's take a look at the updated warnings. All right, so updated warnings for severe storms. You've got these counties right here are all severe thunderstorm warnings. You've got 3 tornado warnings right here, and then 1 tornado warning up by like northeast of Tulsa, So, but in the rest of the blue are severe thunderstorm warnings. So, yeah. We're listening to ATC in Kansas City right now because there were some diversions earlier. And where's my radar? There it is. No, not that radar. There is my model area guidance. And then, okay, there we go. Rohan, what's up? How you doing? It's nice to see a different type of live stream this evening with informational topics. Thanks, man. You're welcome. We're here to educate, and hopefully a lot of other people will eventually feel the same way. So this is our first show, and if you like it, we'll do more. But obviously, it's all good. So welcome in, everybody. We're taking a look at airspace across the United States, the issues of the airspace across the United States, and everything that goes with it. So I'm going to close off ATC for a bit here. No, we'll keep that up. We'll close the other one out. All right. So just to recap, it is 3:37. This is the first ever edition of Pips. What's up with my airspace, or what's wrong with my airspace, or dude, what's up with my airspace? First ever edition. So thank you for tuning in. And we're keeping track of everything in the United States. If there's an alert, hopefully we're on it. If there's a ground delay or ground stop, we're on it. So DFW has just issued a ground stop until what was it, 23 Zulu? Let's click on the advisory again. I always forget. So the advisory is in effect until 23:30 Zulu. Right now it is 22:30 Zulu. So the ground stop is in effect for first tier until 4:30 or unless canceled. And so what does that do for DFW? That is a great question. And oh wait, Denver's in a ground delay due to the storms. But remember yesterday what we were looking at? Let's go to the airport demand. Remember what we looked at yesterday with Phoenix? This was kind of fun. Yeah, so this is what's up with my airspace. And what we're doing right now is seeing how the weather's affecting some of the arrivals in DFW. So let's do that right now. So we're going to look at the arrivals here. No, not that. I only need DFW. Sorry. All right. So you've got at DFW right now, it is 22:30 Zulu across the world. And roger that, Sandra. So you've got arrivals 21, 23, right, or 22, excuse me. So you got the arrival of 70, 70, 70. So not too bad for DFW. About pretty consistent. Where this line is really, if you get over this line, that's really where you start to get issues and they issue ground delays. But they've already ground stop for that program. So Sandra says there's a convective segment, which is for thunderstorm activity. Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate that. So, but DFW is doing all right. They've got 67 arrivals this current hour. They have 69 the next hour. They have 71 the hour after that. And then they go down to 63, 51, 68. Bulldog, looking forward to your next stream in San Diego. And Bulldog, thanks so much for tuning in. This is the first ever iteration, so hopefully it'll get better from here. So thank you for tuning in. So right now, things not too bad as far as arrival rate goes at DFW, But we do have some thunderstorms here in the Metroplex. And they just issued a ground stop for DFW in the last half hour, just a little over a half hour or so. Don't be poopy, radar. What if I just close one of them out? That's what I'll do. I'll close the YouTube and the severe storm. I can always pull that back up. Hopefully that should be a little bit better. So you've got weather here on the right here again, DFW, and you've got weather on the southeast end of DFW. And with the other weather in the Texoma region, and you have the thunderstorms going on too. What's up, Cougar Tracks? Oh, now they added the severe thunderstorm or the tornado watch to Denton and Collin County. So, for your information, I lived right up here, right about here. So I lived right about here. So it looks like they just added a tornado watch for Collin County where I live, and then they've got thunderstorms forming on the southeast end here of Dallas and Fort Worth, with DFW Airport right here. So we're going to watch this closely as well to see what happens, because if you look further north into Oklahoma, we have multiple tornado warnings right here, just north of the border, into southeast of Oklahoma, over here along Highway 75, which is over by McAllister, where we've got my old friend lives in McAllister. So yeah, good for you, Sandra. I'm glad you're looking at the map. So DFW looks good right now so far, but we're going to keep a close eye on that. Let's go back to Kansas City and see how the weather looks in Kansas City. We saw 6 diversions earlier, and so far you get some light rain, some precip, things like that, and that's what we're looking at. So give me a second here. It's getting some hydration. Well, hi, Lynn Christie. Thanks for tuning in to my first ever show called What's Up with My Airspace, or What's Wrong with My Airspace, where we take a look at the U.S. Aviation network and across the United States. Currently looking at 2 maps. One is the arrival demand chart for DFW, and one we're looking at severe storms here in Kansas and Kansas City that caused some diversions earlier. Hazards. Do I want hazards? There we go. Perfect. That is exactly what I wanted. So it looks like the weather's moving away from Kansas City International Airport for right now, MCI, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. We'll zoom out a little bit. So we got thunderstorms I wonder if we've had any tornadoes reported yet. RVR looks good across the country except for Des Moines, which Des Moines is right here, so it's getting some heavy rain. And so the RVR, the visibility for pilots is down to close to a half a mile. So 2,400 is really about a half a mile. So the airport, which is down here, it's getting, there's having some heavy rain in Des Moines. Other than that, our RVR monitors, our runway visual rains for airports across the nation is looking good. Looking good. I'm going to close out ATC here for a little bit. I'm going to close that out. We're going to go back here. We're going to go back to the airspace system. All right. They just issued this. Dallas Love Field has departure delays of so if you are at Dallas Love Field, you might have a bit of a delay departing based on the weather. And I think a lot of that is due to the storms to the southeast of DFW. So the storms along here, down here, it makes it difficult to depart to New Orleans, just like that. So thank you everybody for tuning in. This is our first ever edition. And I'm going to close that out. Maybe that'll help things. Oh, let's see what kind of weather or issues we have. Any PIREPs? Let's see. We got PIREPs. I forgot to turn off the live react. So we got some PIREPs here. PIREPs are pilot reports. And all of a sudden my internet doesn't want to work very well. This is not good. Yeah, so we got a PIREP here in DFW. So what does this green arrow say? What does the green arrow say? The green arrow says light chop. So light turbulence, light chop turbulence located here just south of Dallas. This was reported at flight level 11,000 by a 737. And that was reported about 40 minutes ago. Sandra asks, I know they have low-level wind shear, but do they have high-level wind shear? I've never heard of high-level wind shear. However, that does not mean it doesn't exist. But that's a really good question, Sandra. I'll mark. I've never encountered that. Now, check out what happened just in the last couple of minutes. They arrival rate of 78 now here for 7 o'clock tonight, which is right kind of the max that DFW ATC can handle. Due to that ground delay program, that ground stop, or excuse me, the ground stop, now you have these flights being moved into the next hour. So ATC has to deal with more, and so you might have a ground delay program in the next little bit. That's a really good question, Sandra. I think that if they have high-level wind shear, it would be like the jet stream. So, Treasure Maze asks a great question. What is the difference between a ground stop and a ground delay? Good question. Let's answer that question. All right. So we have actually programs. And Dallas Love Field's now in a ground stop. So let's hit this up. This was just added here briefly. So it went from departure to delays to now ground stop as well. And the ground stop for Love Field is, again, first tier for Houston Center, Fort Worth, Kansas City, Memphis, and Albuquerque. So Treasure Maze's question is, what is going on? What's the difference between a ground stop and a ground delay? A ground stop means that no aircraft that are departing to, let's say, Love Field here, are allowed to take off if they sometimes they have conditions for that. So ATC is issuing. So let's click on the advisory. So it's basically saying, this ground stop is saying, if you are flying to Dallas Love Field and you are at an airport that is located in Houston, Fort Worth, Kansas City, Memphis, or Albuquerque centers, you are not allowed to take off because of thunderstorms at Dallas Love Field. So that's basically saying you can't do anything. And typically what happens is, Treasure Maze, after a ground stop is canceled, a ground delay program is issued, which is, stand by. Let's click on the Denver one here. A ground delay program says you can take off, but not until a certain point in time, which means, let's say it is, okay, right now it's 2252 Zulu. If ATC says you cannot take off until 24 Zulu, so about an hour from now, or 2359 Zulu, you are not allowed to take off until 2359. So a ground stop says you can't go anywhere. A ground delay program says you can go, but not until this time, if that makes sense. If anybody wants to add to that explanation, feel free. But that's basically the ground stop and the ground delay. So basically, a ground stop is you can't go anywhere until the ground stop is over. And a ground delay program, which usually comes after a ground stop, is you can go somewhere, but you can't go somewhere until this time, which is your wheels up time, or your expected departure clearance or edict time. So does that make sense? Good question. Good question. Let's go back to the radar here. There we go. Let's see. How's Phoenix doing today? Let's see what's going on with Phoenix. I just was tired, and it's a lot of money to drive up there and pay for parking. So I elected to stay at home. That's basically all it comes down to. So here's Phoenix today, right here. Phoenix, everything's moving as planned. The east, they'll come around, they'll curve around their downwind leg here. They'll make a right turn and land on runway 26 or runway 25. So welcome in again. This is our first ever edition of What's Up With, or What's Wrong With My Airspace. This show is intended to inform, entertain, and educate viewers and passengers and pilots throughout the United States of what's going on in our airspace system. So this is designed to be educational, informational, plus we have a little bit of fun too, where we check out other people's. But right now we're keeping a close eye on Dallas, because right now we've got storms popping up here on the east side of Dallas. And there's a second wave, I think, that's going to start popping up here in a little bit. See how that line is increasing here? So there's the possibility that things could get worse in Dallas. What's up, Robbie Batista? How are you? So again, just to recap, there's ground stops at Love Field, and there's also a ground stop at Dallas Fort Worth International, which is right here. So Love Field is about right here. Dallas Love Field or Dallas Fort Worth is right here. So we just explained what a difference between a ground stop and, again, to make it easy, ground stop, you can't go anywhere. Ground delay, you can go, but I can't let you go until this time. So That is ground stop. So we're keeping an eye on Dallas. Oklahoma City looks in the clear for right now. Hugh and Josh. Tulsa looks in the clear, just some light showers. Nothing too bad. I wish I could has. I would love to. I'd love to fly a MiG. That other than that, Denver was in ground stop as well. My internet's down. You mean my internet is slow? Not my internet is down. It's slow. So there's a difference. But yeah. Oh no, now it is down. Uh-oh. No. Why? Well, we'll have to work on the internet. I have fast internet. I don't know why it's being so slow. I do not know. I am very upset about that. That is rather slow. There is the possibility for hail and tornadoes. Why is my internet so freaking slow? Let me figure this out, folks, because this is unacceptable. I did freeze. I did freeze. That is correct. That is correct. Okay, give me a second here, folks. I'm going to try and adjust my internet, my interwebs. Yeah. For some reason, my Ethernet cable isn't working. Let's try it then. See if that's any better. So, we just wrapped up our first hour of what's up or what's wrong with my airspace. Well, I'll probably change it to what's up with my airspace. So, well, even with bad internet, thank you everybody for tuning in. I should have fiber. I have fiber, I was told, but I don't know why it's so slow. I don't know why it is so slow. So now that we've wrapped up the first hour, what's everybody's thoughts? What do you like? What do you not like? What stands out to you? Any thoughts? Any questions? Anything standing out to you? We have 15 gracious viewers, kind viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. What are your ladies and gentlemen's thoughts? Do you like the concept? What would you like to see? What are your thoughts? I'm interested to hear feedback. I'm interested to hear feedback. Jose, what's good? Was good. Well, we're not going anywhere. I might have too many tabs open, Jane. That is an idea I've been thinking about. Cougar Track says it's very interesting. Yeah, I might have a few too many tabs open. Jane says, very interesting. Matt Man says, nice job. Haz says, LOL. You'd like to see your channel? Well, I can't blame you for wanting that. So, we'll work with Jane. Yeah, I may not have quite so many things open here. So I'll close that out. And then I'll close this out. and we'll just keep an eye on the radar for now. Let's see if that helps things. So this on Arizona, it is now 2301 Zulu, in case you're wondering. And you are watching the first ever show of What's Up with My Airspace that's meant to be informational, educational, entertaining, and help you as a passenger, a pilot, or a plane spotter. We talk about what's going on in the airspace, giving you updates, up-to-the-minute updates about what's going on with weather, aviation problems, and a lot of other things that go with for that. Treasure May says, I am all for learning. So very good. I like hearing that. And they still have the ground stop in DFW, also at Love Field right now. In the meantime, let's look at our busy airports. Let's go up to Boston. What's going on in Boston here? Boston. Got clouds, cool weather, and it is 7:02 in Boston. I know, Jose, that's huge news. Etihad flying to Charlotte. We were talking about that yesterday. That's huge news. So there's Boston. What went on today? It looks like runway 33 today and taking off. Boston's a whole nother deal. Whoops. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that, but what's up, Mike? Well, see, that's a good point, Matt. Mike, it's not so much about planes landing or taking off. It's about planes taking off to Dallas. There's nothing, unless it's otherwise specified, Mike, that says you're prevented from taking off. The issue is that it's about flying to Dallas. So that's, unless it's otherwise stated, Mike, it's only departures to the station. It's not departures from the station. Yeah, excuse me, is right. So Mike brings up a good point. That's important to clarify that ground stops are for departures to the affected station. Unless otherwise specified, you can leave from that station. So like Mike said, I see departures leaving from DFW, and you're right, you absolutely do. Like, this is American 1681 leaving from DFW, and yeah, excuse me is right. And but that does not prevent the plane from taking off from DFW. So good question. That's a good question there, Mike. That's a good question, and I appreciate it. So, in a particular instance, to follow up, there's a ground stop only first tier. So it's basically all the ATC centers that are bordering the Fort Worth Center. So basically, Albuquerque, right? Houston borders Fort Worth Center, Kansas City, Memphis, and Albuquerque, which is standby. All the neighboring ATC centers. But good question on that. Already airbound for DFW, you still proceed and decide to divert if you get near. Absolutely, Mike. You can still continue on to your destination, but at that point, it's up to the crew if they want to land or if they want to divert. So once you're airborne, you're airborne. Unless ATC explicitly says you have to get on the ground now, which has actually happened once before for me. Uh, Thank you, Trucker Norm. Get some rest. And I will do it again for sure. Absolutely. The the caveat, Mike, is unless ATC explicitly says you need to get on the ground now, once you're airborne, you can continue to the destination. Absolutely. But if, like we do that all the time, there would be times that I had a flight that would take off, let's say, from, I don't know, Tulsa, Oklahoma to DFW. And there were thunderstorms in the forecast. And we're like, okay, well, we can hold. We can give them hold fuel. Like, we could get the pilots to hold. But they could divert. They could decide they want to divert. So it's really at the discretion of the flight dispatcher and the pilot in command. But once they're airborne, and they can continue on. The question now becomes, do we divert or do we hold or does the weather break up? So there's been times that we've taken off and the weather breaks up, and there's other times that the weather gets worse and we divert. So it's really a case-by-case scenario. Thank you, Trucker Norm. Appreciate it. Jane asks, get some rest, Trucker Norm. Is Phoenix and Tucson both in Albuquerque Center? And the answer is yes, Jane. They are both in Albuquerque Center. So Tucson and Phoenix are both in Albuquerque Center, which is right here. So it takes in El Paso, looks like Amarillo, Lubbock, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Phoenix, Tucson. So yes, great question. And they call me 413 says, how is Bradley looking? Let's look at Bradley. Let's look at lovely Bradley, Windsor Locks Airport in Connecticut, as I call it. A lot of people call it. Let's see. Albany, there's Albany. Bradley should be, where is Bradley? Burlington. I'm going to zoom in. Where is Bradley? Manchester. Yeah, it should be like right here. Oh, I know. It's right there. There we go. There's Windsor Locks. Lynn, there's been a few instances. So obviously 2001 September 11th was a situation where ATC would say get on the ground now, and they would flight dispatchers would try and get your plane on the ground now as soon as possible. Then there was a situation when COVID first was happening and we didn't know the severity of what COVID caused. Fort Worth Center had a air traffic controller test positive for COVID. So Fort Worth Center shut down, evacuated everybody, and had to do a deep cleaning before they could be let back in. And because of that, they said that all of our flights from Fort Worth Center that were in Fort Worth Center had to get on the ground. So the flight dispatchers and the pilots in command, we had to, in a matter of minutes, get the flights on the ground because they had no flight following or anything like that. So that was a rare instance where ATC would be like, you need to get on the ground now. So, good question. Windsor Locks has got light winds, overcast, and looks like the temperature is about 60 degrees. Actually sounds really nice. They call me 413. That sounds really nice. And I know the runway is under construction, so. Yep, it was strange. It was strange, and I was just 19. Hey, what's up, Freed? Welcome to our first ever What's Up with the Airspace live stream show that's and informative. Entertaining, informative, and educational. There we go. That's the word I want to use. All right, let's take a look at Cleveland, Jane. And Fareed, good timing. Let's take a look at Cleveland. How is Cleveland looking today? Weather-wise, Cleveland looks great. And let's see what Cleveland Hopkins is as far as weather. Hey, Ramona Aviation, thank you for tuning in to our first ever live stream of What's Up with My Airspace. Cleveland, 13 degrees Celsius, so about 60 degrees. Winds from the north, overcast. Jane, it is no precipitation anywhere. So it's looking good, looking good. Looking good. Yeah, very good timing. So Cleveland right now has got this inbound Republic flight from, or taking off to Philadelphia on an inbound flight. Then we have Spirit Airlines taking off to Fort Lauderdale on an A320. But Cleveland is looking good, Jane. Just overcast skies. But other than precipitation, not look like we've got a whole lot of precip in Cleveland. But it's headed our way. All right, Cougar Track says, what's happening in Salt Lake City? Let's take a look at Slick. I think if I get my internet issues sorted out, things will be better too. So I don't know why it's being so crappy, but got to get that sorted out. All right, Salt Lake is and there's Salt Lake City right there. So Salt Lake is looking great. Cougar Tracks from the radar looks like. Nothing too bad going on with the radar. Looking good. We have Salt Lake City has north winds, so there are arrivals from the south. And 13 Celsius in Salt Lake City, so about 60 degrees there. 60-ish degrees. Everybody's about like 60-ish degrees. So looking good. No issues. No issues on the National Airspace System. So looking good. Usually there are rare instances, Cougar Tracks, where Salt Lake City might be in a ground stop, but that's usually in the wintertime when they're having heavy snow and then maybe an occasional thunderstorm. But that doesn't happen too often, as you well know. Not too much action going on in Salt Lake City as far as the weather. So let's go back. Speaking of weather, let's go back to DFW and Dallas Love and see what we got going on there. This is our hotspot area for the day, at least for the next couple of hours. And they issued a tornado warning for the upper portion of the Dallas Metroplex. So like Denton, so basically Denton County, Collin County have been added. And that's what we're looking at right now. The weather, though, looks like it's moving to the east of Love Field, or right on the edge here. DFW looks in the clear, but that ground stop could be because of thunderstorms here and then also thunderstorms here. Because remember, if you're an air traffic controller, there's only so much space you have. Okay, so DFW just updated, and they are now in a ground stop, not just first tier. It looks like it's all, basically, almost all ATC centers. So if you are flying into DFW, you will be delayed. So the following ATC airspaces are delayed, having a ground stop. You have Los Angeles Center, Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, Jacksonville, Fort Worth, Denver, Miami, Kansas City, Memphis, Indianapolis, Albuquerque, and Minneapolis. So basically everything except for Seattle, Boston, and New York Center, and DC, looks like. So the ground stop has just expanded to DFW. So if you're watching at the airport and you're headed to DFW, you're not going anywhere. Excuse me. Minneapolis, Jane, I did not see Minneapolis. Oh, yeah, look at that. Minneapolis is now in a ground stop. Thank you, Jane. Let's go up here and see what the radar is. All right. I'm going to throw my internet through the roof. So Minneapolis is now in a ground stop because of thunderstorms. Good eye, by the way, Jane. I didn't catch that one. So that was issued. And Air King Flyer, what's up? But it looks like, yeah, Minneapolis is starting to have precipitation here down on the south end here, and that's where Minneapolis is. So if you're going to Minneapolis, you can't go anywhere. So advisory. It is for the airspace at Chicago, Minneapolis, Cleveland, Denver, Kansas City, and Minneapolis Center. So if you're in one of those airspace centers, you will have an issue so far. And they said it goes until, I'm going to look at the advisory. It goes until, it is everywhere, Freed. It sure is. All right, so that goes till 23, so until the top of the hour. So the ground stop for Minneapolis goes until the top of the hour right now, and it may change, of course. And that's the other thing you need to bring up here is at air traffic control, they can do whatever they want. If they want to make the ground stop longer, they can do that. If they want to turn it into delay, they can do that. Their job is to safely and efficiently get as many people in the skies as possible. And it's difficult when there's weather. So that's one of the problems. That is one of the problems for sure. So thanks everybody for liking and tuning in. This is again is the first ever iteration of What's Up with My Airspace. And I'm so pleased to have you on board. I'm the Pipster, and we're talking about the giant mess in the Midwest that's causing delays at DFW, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Des Moines probably has an issue or two, but the main issues are DFW and Minneapolis as well as Kansas City. So that is what we're looking at in the Midwest. If you're on the East Coast, if you're flying to the East Coast, no problems. If you're flying to the West Coast, no problems. But if you're flying to the middle of the country, all along where my arrow is pointing, you have issues. Yes, Sandra, that is correct. That is correct. Thank you, Jane. We just got to spread the word by word, and get my internet fixed, and we'll be good to go. Well, you know, I think what we'll do is just like, again, as it gets hotter and hotter here in Arizona, it's more difficult to live stream for a long period of time. And so we may do more of this and Flight Simulator and other things. So the fur. Yeah, the Flight Information Region. FIR stands for the Flight Information Region. So that's what we have going on. Look at this. We get new information seems like 15 minutes. So Denver, still in a ground delay program. and we'll be until 8 o'clock tonight, so that's like 3 more hours. Dallas Love Field, still first tier ground stop. Departure delays from Dallas Love Field are averaging 60 minutes. So if you're leaving Love Field, you're going to be delayed just leaving. And ATC has expanded the ground stops from DFW to LA Center, Chicago Center. By the way, ZAU is Aurora, but because ATC is out in Aurora, but it's Chicago Center or Aurora Center, which is Chicago. So I say it. So I probably say it incorrectly. It's Aurora Center, but it's Chicago Center. Atlanta, ZTL is Atlanta. Houston is ZHU. ZJX is Jacksonville in Florida. FW is Fort Worth Center in Fort Worth, Texas. DV is Denver Center. ZMA is Miami. KC, that's an easy one. Kansas City. ZME is Memphis Center. ZID is Indianapolis Center. And then AB is Albuquerque. And then MP is Minneapolis Center. So, yep. A lot of chaos today. A lot of chaos. St. Louis, I think it won't be until overnight, Cougar Tracks. Looking at the progression, it probably won't be until late tonight or overnight. So shouldn't be too many issues for flights getting in and out of St. Louis. But this tail here is, what's going to cause the issues. So if you're in Dallas, you've got these little storms here on the east side, and then you've got this on the Victory arrival path, and might be an issue. Denver's okay. I think a lot of it has to do with the weather here, and then also the weather down here in Colorado Springs. And then the west part of Kansas. Oh, Mattman, how will ATC look like? Well, I know it looks like the 1960s right now. So hopefully we can get it up to the 2000s, Mattman. So I think there are opportunities to improve AI. I know that AI is being piloted in Europe. I definitely have some concerns about AI. Even though human error exists, I think AI can also supplement the human, but it can't replace the human. So that's what I would say to those who are interested in using AI, for example. So. All right, Sandra, good night. I will refrain from throwing my router at the window. I will do my best to refrain from throwing my router at the window or out the window, either or. I think I might, though, get... oh, crap. What did I do now? Sorry, folks. There we go. I think what I'm going to do is order the pizza with the Trinity combo of pineapple, pepperoni, and bacon, if I can find a good deal. So, but yep, it's true, Sandra. Watch me. And we're gonna watch this kind of progress here, how things are progressing. AI will rule the world. Game over. I don't know about that. No, it's not going to happen. It can't replace a lot of things that humans do. And remember, it's artificial. It's not. There you go, Sandra. That's right. So. Oh, Treasure Maze. Great question. Technically, so Treasure Maze just asked if you are waiting in line for takeoff and they issue a ground stop, do you have to taxi back to the terminal? Yes and no. So you're right, you cannot take off, but there's a couple different scenarios that come out of that. So if you find out, let's say you're taking off from I don't know, Albuquerque to Dallas, and you're out on the runway in Albuquerque, and you're waiting to take off, and they issue the ground stop. You can wait out there. You can wait out and wait for the ground stop. You're making a bet that the ground stop will end, and or you can go back to the gate. You don't have to go back to the gate, but you can. And that's a decision that the pilot in command and the flight get something to eat or whatever, and then it becomes of like trying to regather everybody up. So if you go back to the gate, I would always tell the pilot, if you go back to the gate, that's fine, but make sure the passengers just stay on the plane because at any moment the ground stop could be canceled. And then I've had other times where Treasure Maze that the pilot and I have said we're going to wait this out because the weather is improving and or something else, and we're going to wait this out. So we're going to wait out on the taxiway. So there have been some instances where the pilot in command and the flight dispatcher have decided to wait out on the runway, or sorry, not the runway, but the taxiway for anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. And they'll tell the flight attendants to, hey, can you pass water? And airlines have certain protocols in place if you're on the taxiway for a certain period of time. So to answer your question, yes and no. You can either, as a flight dispatcher and pilot in command, you can make the collective decision to either wait out the ground stop, or you can go back to the gate. And that's kind of your decision. ATC is not going to make that decision for you. They're just enforcing the ground stop. They're just enforcing the rules, so to speak. But the flight dispatcher and pilot kind of collectively decide, all right, what's the best plan here, and what's going to be best. So, good question. That's an excellent question, because I've had both flight instances where that has happened. So, excellent question. So let's do this. Let's look at the severe weather. Let's go back to the Severe Weather Storm Prediction Center. See if how things are progressing. Wah, wah, wah. I think there's something wrong with my Wi-Fi router on my desktop. Not my laptop, but my desktop. And I think that's the issue. Doesn't seem to be working. And it is a poo-poo. All right, never mind. We won't do that. Yeah, the internet is being crappy. Yep. So, give me 1 second, folks. Well, I do live in the middle of the country, Tim, so. I do live in the middle of the country. So let's take a look at our updates here. As far as what do we got? Come on, ATC, or come on, Internet, do your thing. All right. Dallas is out of a ground stop, which is good. But DFW, so Love Field is out of a ground stop, and DFW is still in the ground stop. Dallas has departure delays. So if you are flying to Love Field, you have a window. You have a window to take off. So in this particular instance, ATC said we're not going to issue a ground delay program for Dallas Love Field. We're just going to cancel the ground stop. So that's good. But DFW, the ground stop continues for DFW. Let's look at the nothing has changed, so no updates there. Minneapolis still in the ground stop due to thunderstorms. Weather up there in good old Minneapolis. And nothing changing anytime soon. So, in fact, with that ground stop, let's see if we're still getting departures out of there. So let's go up to Minneapolis here and see what is on the ground. Plus, they also have construction, runway construction in Minneapolis. I can't believe my internet is this bad. I apologize. It worked fine earlier. Somebody stealing my feed or something. Or the sun flare, the solar flares. It always happens in June, right? But looks like there are some planes that are waiting to take off. Nothing too bad. But remember, the ground stop does not affect planes taking off. The ground stop is about planes going to Minneapolis. So we're going to look at the current weather conditions here in Minneapolis and check them out. Overcast, 14 degrees Celsius, so in the low 60s, and winds, pretty gusty winds, about 25 knots. So the thunderstorm is just to the south of Minneapolis right now, right? So, or right along the line there. But that's an issue. Thank you, everybody, for liking and subscribing and trying this out. This is just me trying to educate and entertain the world to be a little smarter and a little more entertaining. So, well, hopefully we can do it all. All right, let's go back here. So nothing has changed. Looks like Kansas City. El Paso is getting delays. Are you sure, Tim? Well, they must be isolated then. So El Paso, huh? Let's take a look at El Paso, the pass. YVR is Vancouver, Jane. Excellent work. Nicely done. Nicely done. All right, so El Paso's right here. I don't see bad. We can take a look at the METAR. And oh, this site can't be reached. Oh my gosh. All right. This is driving me nuts. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to throw my computer out the window. But other than that, it's giving you an update. Just giving you a play-by-play that I'm going to throw my computer out the window. It's frustrating. And I'm sorry. And why is my signal? My signal should be 100%. So that is what's going on in the airspace. Everything else, Dallas Love Field, departure delays, ground stops, things like that. Good for you, Jane, trying to learn all the airport codes. I love that. I love that. I love hearing that. I think it does need a problem. Needs to it's probably the amount of audience that is tuned in for this first ever show. It is Windows. How did you know, Luis? I'm hardcore MacBook, except for Flight Simulator, and yeah. So I'm hardcore Mac. Try the feel. This has been cool. This has been fun. This will get better. I promise this will get better as if we continue to do this. You don't start out doing something and then have it instantly be successful. That's called being viral, and that's for 10 seconds. So, thank you everybody for tuning in. It is 4:39 on the West Coast, 5:39 in Denver, 6:39 in Chicago O'Hare, and 7:39 on the East Coast. Oh, we've got another Iraqi Airways 777 headed to Tucson, huh? Very interesting, Tim. Where is it located at? Let's check out Tucson. Or not. My internet doesn't want to. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Can I just cry? Maybe it's OBS doing this. But I figured this was the easiest way that allowed me to sit down on my butt. All right, Lynn, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support. We'll see you again next time. Oh, yeah, look at that. Iraqi Airways. This 777 doing a test run here from Marana. I think it might have been painted already. But there it is, yeah. It does need a soundboard. You know, it's funny, Luis, it was either my MacBook Pro, basically my iPad, or my computer here that I could sit at and have a big old TV screen, because I have like a 49-inch screen right here in front of me. And I wanted that, and I wanted to sit down. I was tired of standing everywhere, so I went with the Windows computer. All right, Jeff S. Sounds good. Definitely be back, but I must go. Guardians game is about to start. Oh, Indians. All right. So I am going to do this. I think what I'm going to do is leave this on because the radio or the radar updates, and that's cool. Or not. I don't know. I do need to get the Holy Trinity pizza of pineapple, bacon, and pepperoni because you got to do that. I would do a live show tomorrow, but I actually have some repairs on my car to do. So that's why we're not on the air tomorrow. Yes, Jane, absolutely. I can do that. I can come up with questions for you. No, yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. A matching, huh? A matching code. All right. Yeah, we can make that happen, Jane. That's a good idea. I am on board with that. I just need an assistant who's smart. You know, I'm not very smart. We could do a Jeopardy game. I like it, Tim. I like it. I've thought about that. So, here's the deal. I'm gonna take a break. I might be back later. So if you see me on the air, I will be back later. If not, maybe we'll do this again tomorrow. Q says, come back to MCI. I have the best watching spots. I'll definitely come back, Q. Kansas City was awesome. But yeah, if I don't come back tomorrow, or excuse me, tonight, maybe I'll try this tomorrow evening again or tomorrow morning and try it again. Work things out. So. Southpaw, I understand. You're welcome, Treasure Maze. So I might be back later tonight. If not, I'll try and swing by tomorrow and say hi. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, man. Yeah, please let me know your feedback. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Email me at pipsplainspotinglive@gmail.com. Let me know this is a good idea, if we should keep doing it, if it has the potential to be really good. Let me know. And email me as always, but we'll talk to y'all later. So let me know what you guys think of it and your impressions, and we'll talk to you all soon. If not tonight, hopefully tomorrow. We'll see you later, guys. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.